Okay. Um,
Can you see me all right?
yeah, you look great. I'm gonna just chat for a minute while I'm making my lunch.
Okay.
And people can see what I make for lunch. Okay. So,
Lucky devil.
pineapple, yummy. I
Yeah.
can't waste any of that, right?
No
All
way.
right, let's get this down here. Let's see what we're working on. Oh, there's a big old bad daddy piece of pineapple. Anybody wants to tell me about how my my cutting technique is terrible? That's fine. Go ahead and let me know. I'll fix it. I know I never went to chef school or nothing like some of my fancy roommates I've had in the past. For show offs.
You grow those in your backyard?
I wish I could grow pineapples in the backyard. Did you know that coconuts and like palm trees, like for instance, I live in a place called Palmdale, is right next to me, and they've got palm trees for days, and they're actually the same trees that coconuts grow on, but they're just palm trees out here because we don't have enough humidity. And so it's not until a certain humidity level that they start making coconuts.
So they don't grow any coconuts because there's not enough water.
Yes, and so it just comes out as just a regular palm tree that's super resistant to drought.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
That's kind of a neat little factoid for today.
Yeah.
And,
should be easy. Energies are really high, very active.
yes.
It's been really easy for me for the last, I'd say, 2 weeks to go in trance.
Yeah.
And Baba
Well, you know, like
Quago.
you say, it gets easier every time too, you know, and you've been down to like
Yeah.
20 times.
Yeah. The only thing that's hard for me is to reach that being, that guide, Baba Qua.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only comes in when he wants to.
Right.
Yeah. So this is how it's easy to see that it is a maybe a future me or another aspect of myself, but it is a different being. It's a different personality of my higher self.
Well,
It's cool.
we know that like our friend Ursula, who I just did the BQH session with yesterday,
Okay.
she has an aspect of her that is a dragon. It's from the 18th dimension. And we were asking, is this like, is it her higher self? Is it a guide? Why does she keep seeing this dragon? And they just said that it's just another aspect of her multidimensional self. So, you know, a higher self can have so many lives at one time, right? And so one aspect of her is Ursula down here on the third dimension or fourth or fifth or wherever it is she is. And another aspect of herself is actually a freaking dragon that is on the 18th dimension.
Yeah, well, you're right, because planet Earth is that challenge. You have to be everything before you can get out, and once you reach awareness like we are doing, well, you still have a lot of work to do. There's still a lot. I still have to do a lot of work to get out of here.
Well, you know, it's like we
I
say,
don't know,
if you have it all figured out, why would you be here? You know what I mean?
exactly.
You go
And
somewhere
I'm not
else.
in a rush. I'm not in a rush to get out. Things are getting better and better. And right now, I got a foot in both worlds. So it's getting really interesting. I love it. I'm not in a rush to leave. I'm not in a rush to change things.
No, I agree with you, man. Same thing. It's like, this is so fun right now. It's so interesting, and we're getting to spread the good word, which is really fun too, and it's just great. Now, I was thinking, if you want, this is at your discretion, but I was wanting to, I've got Vanessa sitting on standby, and I was thinking, you know, if we were to just only go to Easter Island today and see if I can send both you guys at the same time, would you be willing to try that experiment today? I said it would be based on how you were feeling.
Yeah, if she wants to try it.
Yeah, and you know, and it may happen that only like maybe you just get under and you guys aren't able to meet up. That's fine. It's all part of the growth process for us.
The thing we shouldn't. The thing we'll have to do is you'll have to go to me and let her follow,
Yep.
Just do the induction like you do it to me, and we're gonna bring her along and see if she can see me, see if she can follow along.
Yep.
My energy turns blue once I go on the other side. I become I'm a blue being. She should be able to see me. You can ask her once in a while if she's following, and make the intent that things are working.
Okay. So just a minute, let me invite her real quick then, because she's just kind of on standby. Just a moment.
And once everything is settled, once we got a lot of things doing, well, you can just lay my personality back and start working with her for a bit.
Well, yes. So my feeling is this. I'm going to say that you can run on up ahead and go get your ship and come back and pick her up like we were talking about that one day. What do you think about that? But she goes under pretty easily.
Let her wait at the the ship gave me a name.
Oh God, great. I'm dying for that.
I forgot. What is it?
What? Patrick. Evolution?
Just give me a second.
It's a girl, right?
Abelalite, something like that.
Okay.
It sounded like Isabella, but it's not Isabella. Abella, I think.
I love it. That's so personal now, though, because
Abellite. I think it's Abellite.
Is it Bellite?
Abellite. Just
Abellite.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So when you get in her, you can ask her for a clarification on that. Sounds like you're real close there, though. It almost sounds like a new kind of crystal.
I tried to go yesterday.
Yeah?
I went to the castles. I went to the crystal cities. I was trying to get some information, getting to other stars. I can't remember much. I just fell asleep at some point, and so I don't know what happened. I don't remember.
You can travel through the sun as one way, but your ship will take you right there. You don't even have to go through the sun, just so you know.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you something. I think there are different steps of once you're under hypnosis. Maybe there are vibrational fields that you can get to. Once you get to those fields, the information, everything becomes different. Once I'm visualizing a past life, it almost feels like I'm imagining things. Okay, I'm visualizing with my imagination.
Yes,
it feels like that. Okay.
Yes.
But once I get past through the higher self, once I'm on the other side, it feels like I'm in a world where beings are coming to me. There's no more imagination needed there. I just gotta stay very deep, but not falling asleep. But it's a different world where everything is everything comes to you. Your vibrational field can invite certain energies once you're on that side, and it doesn't always work. Like when I tried to meet up with Babakwa, I'd say maybe 1 time out of 10 it works.
Right.
So I really think that there are different levels, let's say, of trance, to where you get to a point where you're so deep that the imagination doesn't have to work anymore. The images are like almost the reality, the real thing happens.
Yes, because the higher up you go in dimension, the less dense that dimension is. This is when instant manifestation happens. It's just like I was saying, if you're on the 10th dimension and you think of a recliner chair, the cloud is going to turn into a recliner instantly, right? And so this is part of what you're feeling is the difference in densities and the instant manner of manifestation that happens It's letting you know that you're in a higher dimension when you're having that feeling.
Well, what this is that part I really like me. It's crazy. It's another world completely, and I love to have a foot in that world and this one also. It's wow. I feel so very privileged and lucky.
You know, it's what I hate is when people tell me to do more grounding, and I'm like, I don't want to ground. I like, you know, I like that my brain up in the air and in different dimensions, like the opposite direction.
Well,
I want to go, you know.
We don't need to really to ground because Earth wants to go. She wants to go to higher densities. She's going to go all the way up to 7 density by 2030. So we'll see how things go.
So now here, while we're waiting for Vanessa, let me just see if she sent me a message or anything. Okay, so she's probably taking a shower right now, I'm going to guess. This is my secret to a good smoothie. All right, it's Kel's little secret here. You freeze the grapes.
Oh yeah, cool.
Grapes, and you throw them in the freezer, and everything else goes in the fridge. It makes such a difference.
Well, I made a video. It is on my channel right now.
What?
It is my recipe, but the lighting and the sound is really bad. So I'm just waiting for one of my buddies to help me do it again. And I have an introduction video that I did for my channel, but the sound is awful. So I'm gonna redo all of them.
What editing program do you use?
I haven't edited that one. It's just I'm teaching people how I make my shake in the morning. My food base.
Do you use YouTube Studio Beta? Are you using that Wondershare?
Yeah, no, I have Filmorama.
Filmora, right? So that's I would recommend that you go with DaVinci Resolve. I'll send you a link to it. And the thing about DaVinci Resolve that is nice is that you can actually do separate editing of the sound. So that you can, like, for instance, I can take my voice and put it into a track, and I put your voice into a track, and I can make your voice louder and my voice quieter.
But I don't have to worry about that. I've got professional cameras here and everything, microphones. Oh yeah, I got a good equipment. It's just that I did this one with a GoPro, and my buddy was holding it, and his fingers were. The sound is very sensible when you hold it, and he was moving around too much. Not only that, the light was coming from right over my head. I looked very wrinkled and I look much older than I am. The sound and the image is not too good, so I'm going to redo them.
That's because you haven't been sleeping.
Yeah, I know.
You look pale again right now. At the end of today's session, you're going to be all colorful. I can't wait to see that.
Yesterday, I went ice fishing and I walked in about 5 feet deep snow with all the equipment for close to a kilometer. I was really tired. Got home, did a few breathing exercises, but I was able to sun gaze a little bit during the day also.
You do that with your eyes closed or open?
Open, but I'm really careful. I've got techniques to do it. I don't look directly at the sun, and I wait for cloud covers. If a cloud comes through, well, you have to be really careful. Some people have sensible eyes, so I don't suggest it to anyone.
Yeah.
But I use different techniques to make sure that I don't get direct sunlight into my eyes. But I was able to do it yesterday, and I was able to do a lot of breathing exercise and a little bit of meditation. And last night I only needed 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and this morning I was energized again. But in the afternoon around that time, I feel tired because I don't eat much before going in for a session. It's not good to do that because it interferes. And that's what I don't like, the interference. When my imagination cuts through and changes things, this is the part that I'm really wondering about and studying carefully and trying to make sense out of it.
Give me a second. I have to run and get my notepad. 1 second. All right. Now, I want you to
Okay,
know
so
that
I'm gonna
sometimes
make
I
my
get
setup.
stuff off the top of my head, and I'm just trying to, be free form and just because I let things come right off the top of my head doesn't mean they're always right, and I'll think about it a little more, and then maybe change my mind the next morning when I wake up. And so I was thinking, I think you're right about the memory thing. That I'm going to go ahead and do it as part of the induction as well. I don't think it'll mess up with your trance at all.
What? What are you talking about?
Okay, so the memory. Remember, I was
Yeah.
saying that I didn't want to do it in the beginning because I thought it might stop you from going under deep enough.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking I was wrong, and
Okay.
you're more right. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it to you as one of your superpowers. We'll do it right when you get inside the Merkaba,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when we always deliver the superpowers for the day, right when you get in the Merkaba. When you get in the Merkaba is when you're going to instantly go back to the last state you were in the last time you were in your Merkaba. So that you should just be good to go from that moment on. Then from there on out, you can move ahead, come back, pick us up, do whatever you feel is comfortable, okay? So the other thing is because, and now I need you to communicate with me on this and keep me up to date, because part of the experiment is that Shelly wants me to give her kids super memory so that they will do good on their tests in school.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't
That's
that a great
something
idea,
I
right?
really, really.
So,
Oh, I love that. This is good, man. This is really good.
so we're going to experiment on you, Patrick, and I'm going to try to give you the super memory permanent, not just for sessions. Okay?
Okay,
But you
you're
need to
gonna
let me
have to.
know, how is your memory coming along? Does it get better every time? Does it come and go? Does it only do in sessions? I need to know what's going on so I can tweak and dial it in, okay?
Yeah, Babakwa. Some of the first times I connected with him, he told me about that we would be able to work on that eventually. Um, Special abilities
Yep.
and bringing the body to higher light density, so that
Yep.
the body can keep more of that prana or that chi,
Mm-hmm.
that ki, that reiki, angel fire, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That light, we are able to keep a lot of it in our digestive track.
Yeah.
That chakra,
Mm-hmm.
from the solar plex to
Mm-hmm.
the root chakra,
Mm-hmm.
your body acts like a battery, so you can store a lot of that energy in there, in that
Mm-hmm.
area. So he's talking about that, and I found videos on YouTube that there are chi masters that talk about it also.
Right. They always inhale through the belly button, and they've got the chi belt that you make, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. So one of the things you can make is you make this like a field of light that goes around your stomach, around the outside, almost like Saturn's rings. And how the Earth is going to have rings someday. You're going to have this ring around the outside of you when you're doing your chi exercises, and you bring that kind of in through, like just below the navel. Something you'll see it when you come across it. You'll come across it eventually. Ah.
I wish I could.
Mhm.
I can't eat before I go in trance like that. If I do eat, like let's say 5 hours, the 5 hours before I go, it will affect me big time.
5 hours, huh?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, especially if I eat bad food like ice cream or stuff like that. This is really really bad. Alcohol will affect me for 2 days, up to 3, sometimes
Oh, we
4 days.
were wondering about that. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
2, 3 days. Okay.
Yeah, I know a little bit about cannabis. I've asked around. I know some people that use a lot of cannabis, and
Mm-hmm.
they work with trance hypnosis and meditation. Also,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the techniques that we use, but they also work with regression, past life regression,
Mm-hmm.
and it does affect. The only thing with cannabis is that if you don't use a lot, it won't affect that much. But there are some people that will like smoke a big joint or a
Mm-hmm.
big bong before going under, and that
Mm-hmm.
will affect them big time. And to a point where your imagination takes over, and sometimes we'll go in negative areas and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm starting to work with guides because a lot of people question me about that, and I'm gonna start asking them a lot of questions about it, and because there's so many drugs that people have been using. There's even to a point that people have been sniffing monatomic gold, powdered gold, that you can use chemical process to downfall your gold to, instead of being particles of 8 to 12 atoms, it will break down into one atom, so it makes a white powder, and it can be used for a lot of things, and people will use this as a drug before induction and transmeditation. And so I want to ask questions. So if ever we have time today, you can maybe go there if you want.
So monatomic gold, and that's also called ormus, right?
Yes.
Yep, same thing.
Yes.
Let me just make a note here then.
Yes. Well, some people call, or a lot of products are called ormus nowadays, but the real thing is that powdered gold.
Monatomic gold. Okay.
Yeah.
Then,
but there is some in salt water coming from around Hawaii. Some springs in Hawaii and stuff like that have monatomic gold, so they're selling the liquid as ormus. So we have to be careful. Ormus may not be the same.
Okay.
The things they're selling on Amazon, there's just a tiny micro amount in it.
Yeah.
But it does something to the water. It's mixed in water, so just that little bit does something, and it does affect your body. So I've got confirmation from the guides, and it's not bad. It's not good. If you want to experiment it, they say be very careful. And the best thing to do is not try to modify your body with any outside products. Whatever the product is, if you think it's good or bad or whatever, your diet is the best thing. Having a good diet, good exercise every day, stretching, breathing exercises, relaxing exercises, that I need to change because I don't do enough. But yeah, it would be interesting to know more. So okay, you ready soon?
Well, I just want to talk just a little bit more about this memory thing. So originally I was thinking the way I was going to do it was we would just, we'll put in the photographic memory where you can take a picture, and then we would say, only take one picture at a time. Don't don't have it on auto, okay? Because we don't want to fill up the brain too much.
No, I'm just gonna say something. Don't worry too much about the picture thing, but just repeat very often. Don't forget, Patrick, your memory today is working like never before.
Excellent recall.
And stuff like that as we go. Just make sure that you're boosting my memory all the way till the end. And just before introduction, make sure to bring badges with me. And you can put the intent also when we go out at the end, and when you count down, just before the countdown, just repeat a couple of times about the memory, and make sure also to repeat, like we said in the chat, that if there's something I don't remember right away, it will eventually come back and gradually come back. Don't mention few days or not, because I will see how it goes, because it's still experimental. And I'm really careful with my diet. My pH balance, my blood level is really good. It's so everything is neutral with me. I'm going in again as a blank sheet of paper. I'm not polarizing myself in any way, positive or negative. I'm trying to go in and let the images guide me and you guys.
Okay, and just so you know, Vanessa just texted me. She's gonna have to go somewhere in a little bit, so she's just gonna come in and just observe for a little bit, but we're not gonna send her under, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll just wait for her to log in here. then I want to talk about the memory thing just a little bit more, because remember, we want to, we're trying to do something for Shelly's kids also, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking as I'm sitting here is that what if I was to make it,
How old are the kids?
like, I want to say like 13, 15, something like that. I mean, like teenagers.
Okay. So you have
Maybe one of them's a
you
little
have,
younger than that.
you have to hypnose them one by one, or all together with the mom.
No, we'll do them one at a time.
Okay, but when they're younger, you can go through the mom. Okay, let's say if they're from 0 to 4, you can do the hypnosis session with the child, with the mom, and the energies will work with both of them.
Yeah, I know that the subconscious mind doesn't even form until you're like 7 or 8 years old too. So I have some concerns about, I mean, will it be easier or harder before that 7 or 8 year old age range?
Well,
So
that
I feel like I would just stay away from it.
That I don't believe, though, because the subconscious mind is there as soon as
You think so?
we get, because we have
You have
awareness
dreams
right
when
away.
you're a little kid, right?
Yeah, we have awareness right away. Body, we look at our fingers, our hands, and we're all in wondering right away. As soon as our eyes can see, we start wondering.
Yeah.
And not only that, I think all animals have a subconscious mind, because we're all related to a higher self. The fact that we know how to it's in us, eh? Like animals, they know, it's imprinted in them. They know, like a duck coming fall time, there's something stronger than him. And he knows that he has to go down south, that he won't be able to tolerate the temperatures of winter. And it knows it right away. There's no communication. It's just imprinted in them. So there is a higher consciousness. There is a subconscious, some subconsciousness somewhere, or connection somehow. Has to.
Okay. So here's what I'm thinking right now is, what if I was to, so you're a kid, you're studying, right? And you look at a page in the book, take a mental image of that page, snap a picture, memorize it, right? And then you store it, not in your brain, but in another realm, like a different dimension. And then this way it doesn't overflow the brain, but whenever you want to get yourself into the zone where you can access that dimension and get that information,
No,
or should we just put it in the brain?
We have to leave it in the brain, because we cannot do that. We have to bring everything back with us. Well, the rules of quantum traveling or observation. Right. If we don't, we have to make a beginning and end to the trip, and send everybody back, and thank everybody, and bring back everything, and not interfere. So I don't know where you'd want to store these memories, and what type of connections you'd like to make. I don't know if it would work.
People's brains have infinite storage power anyways, really, right? I mean, all those super smart people, they've got the same brain as me and you. They just didn't know how to access parts of it better.
But by will, you can create a link to the higher self. That'd be possible, to send everything to the higher self and create a stronger link. The higher
self can act as your memory.
Oh yeah, he will hold anything. It's already.
And then now you can say, I look at this page and I say, okay, I'm sending this page up to the higher self. Okay, I'm sending this page up to the higher self. Sending this page up to the higher self. So I can access it later. And then you would just put yourself in a light, mellow zone before you take a test. And we're going to say, every time you go to take a test, you will not, because part of her daughter's problem is she has test anxiety, right? And that's what makes her forget, is because she gets uptight about tests. So we're going to say, we're going to teach her how to get mellow in a zone, and that's going to be the perfect zone to receive the information from your higher self anyways.
Yeah. We may get information also. If you want to ask it some questions while I'm under, ask the higher self, and we'll see.
Yeah, that's great. Super smart. Yeah, let's do that. Why are we asking Patrick and Kelly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go like this. Super memory and test taking.
Because what I'm getting from my higher self right now is something connecting, making stronger connections to the higher self and to the
Right.
to the Akashic world. It's like a library,
Your
a
Akashic record.
a light library that is imprinted in everything, and it's everywhere. And eventually we'll be able to touch something, and that something will be able to communicate with us.
You know that I was going to take a class on how to read the Akashic records this morning, and two of the people in our group said that person's a scammer, so I got out of the webinar. I had this webinar, I put it up on the Facebook page, and Debbie and Vanessa were both like in separate, they both PM'd me, neither one of them saw the other one, but at the same time, they both PM'd me, they said, my guys don't like this person, another one says, my guys don't like this person. I was like, I'm out. But how neat is that? The group that we're in can give me guidance like that, a guy that has no connection to his guides, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've studied that field a lot. I wanted to be able to read the Akashic records like some people do. There are some kids that have answers to anything. You just close their eyes and they'll get the answer right away.
Well, think about it. If you could read the Akashic records, then you don't have to study. You don't have to memorize anything. You would just get the answer from the Akashic records.
Yeah,
so that's a better way to
right
go.
Answer. Yeah, exactly. Not only that, but you'll get the right answer.
Yeah. Well, that might fuck you up on a test in school.
Exactly. That's where I'm going.
So there's the flaw right there. We just discovered why you don't do it that way.
What the academics may think as the good answer may not be true. You know, so you have to keep an open mind that the Akashic records are right, but what we know may be wrong or upside down, because all Masonic cults, what they do is they're serving higher gods, fake gods, and they reversed everything. Everything we know is a reversal of the truth. The energy grids have been turned around. There's good reasons why it's made that way. It's really complicated. They went too deep. They went too far. They wanted us, in 2012, there was supposed to be a reversal of energy. We were supposed to go from the dark side to the light side again. But it's something went differently this time. It didn't work because these negative higher beings, they collect energy to feed a shadow world. Let's call it a shadow earth. That's their world, that they created beings over there, and they feed on our energy. Some people call it loosh, some call it negative intent. Hurt, when you're hurt, it creates an energy. When you're sad, when you're angry, when you hate someone, it creates an energy, and these beings, that world feeds on that energy. So in 2012, there was supposed to be a huge collect of that energy, a flip of the poles, but it didn't happen. Okay, there was intervention. Let's call it God intervened, and that intervention stopped the reversal of the poles. And these beings, there were 7 of these beings. There's only 1 left. The other 6 have been taken out. They're gone to recycling. They kept 1 because there's still a need for negative energy right now. Humans are not at the right place for the event, so they said that there is still a need for a duality and singularities, so ego, and that is needed to control. It has to do with the ego, with that wars and stuff like that.
Yep. Hey, will you remind me of something? When we're doing the Merkaba, is that a silver disc or a gold disc?
Silver.
Silver. Okay, good.
It's silver.
I was doubting that.
It's silver, but there could be other people, different colors. I'm not sure, but Mine is silver.
Silver,
I'm
okay.
sure I remember.
Triangles
the
are
way
like
it's
what,
been.
red or purple?
Pardon?
They're like the
Their
Merkaba
shape?
itself that comes down. What's the distance? What color is that?
It's multicolored.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's
Alright.
like I've seen videos where those crop circles. There's a Merkaba going over the crop circles, and you could see that it is multicolored. It's like a golden light, but you can
Okay.
see through it that it is. You can see
Mhm.
blue specks and green and a lot of reds, different shades of reds, and
Yeah, because I've always
so
imagined it as like red or purple.
yeah, because we go in with all our chakras, and this is where the light come from. So it probably feeds on with in relation to those chakras.
Yeah.
So your stronger chakras will emit the stronger light of your Merkaba, but the rest are still there.
Okay. You know what? We won't wait for Vanessa anymore. She comes in. She comes in. It's fine. It won't
Okay.
bother you. And we'll
Okay.
started here. We're going
Okay.
to. I just want to.
You know,
Yeah.
give me a minute. I'm gonna go to the corner before we start.
Perfect.
I'll be
I'll
right
get a little more water too.
back.
Okay, so just two things I want to say real quick here is just that I'll check you. I'm going to go pretty quick this time, but I'll just check with you to see how you feel about your state of trance, and you can let me know if you want to go deeper. You're fine. When we go to the Crystal Castle, I prefer not to hang out there for too long today. All right, I just like to get our ship and go. All right, if we can.
Yeah.
A lot of times cool things happen there and we get distracted there, and if something neat comes up, I'll go with it, but I'm still going to try and get out of there as quick as I can unless it's really cool.
We still need that ship, the Bella Light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bella Light. Okay.
Yeah, let's call her Bella Light. It sounds good.
I like that name. That's a pretty name.
It means it. Yeah, it could mean pretty light. Bella.
Oh,
Like,
right, right.
okay.
The other thing is it
Bella
reminds
Light.
me of a crystal, because a lot of crystals are called, tight and light and sight.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah,
Like
that's
Bella
true.
Sight,
Also,
Bella Tight, Bella Light.
perfect name.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Oh man, you look so comfortable. Look at you, right on. I'll let you do your breathing exercises a little more before I get started. You see the Crystal Castle, Patrick?
No,
Okay.
I'm hearing drums. It's dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not only hearing drums, I'm feeling them inside my body.
Interesting.
There's a huge fire. I can hear people.
Mm-hmm. Let's go take a look at it.
No, yeah, I can see a lot of people. They're natives.
They're natives?
Yeah, it's a ceremony.
Oh.
I'm part of the ceremony.
Okay.
It's not for me, but I'm part of it.
Okay.
I'm one of the guides, one of the shaman guides, healers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh wow, this is so cool.
What's the ceremony for?
There was an alignment with two stars in that system,
Mm-hmm.
and when the stars align, we stay. Time is not the same over here, but
Mm-hmm.
we let's say that it would be for a whole week. That ceremony would would start by the alignment of these stars, and it ends. It ends when some of the exercises to we have like a temple. It's all made of rocks, and some of our initiates, some of the students, they all go into it's a part of the planet. They get in deep communication with the planet and the stars around us, and they learn about their missions and the things they have to do to
Is this a ceremony that happens once a year or 4 times a year, or how often does this ceremony take place?
There's no years like on Earth. This happens when the stars are aligned.
Okay.
There are 3 suns around this planet.
Mhm.
2 of them are far away, but there's always a little light. There's no night.
Okay. And as you're taking part, what is your part in it? Are you chanting or dancing or providing energy? What are you doing?
Well, there's a lot of dancing. There's painting ceremonies. We body painting. Oh wow, our bodies are a little different than ours.
Yeah, this was the next thing I was going to ask. Tell me what they look like.
We're taller.
Mm-hmm.
Our skin is like goldish.
Mm-hmm.
We all have long hair. We
Okay.
all have white hair.
Okay. I want you to take a picture of that. A gold person with white hair dancing. Okay.
Most of us have white hair. Some have red, a little bit of reddish. Like the younger ones have a bit of reddish in their hair. There's no facial hair. The nose is looks like it's pointing up to the sky, and it's not as long as a human nose. There's 2 very small nostrils. Ears are elongated, but they're not big. They're still very small, but it's not made like us. But there is like a cup. It's strange, and there's like wavy skin inside the ear. We wear a lot of ornaments. I can see that we use metals. Yeah, it's different types of metals. We use them for different technologies, also for ceremonies.
Like in your ears or in your nose? There's a bracelet, a necklace. What do you mean?
And there is one around my head, my forehead. There's a few around my neck. I'm wearing something on my right ear. There is something through my bottom lip. There's 2. They're not studs. They're used.
Most of these things are made of metals.
Yeah, but those are used to drive the ship. I've got things in my face, but they are used to communicate with the ship. They have flying ships.
So they came to the planet for this alignment to witness it. The ceremony, they came here.
They originate. It's a bit like Earth. Their genetics have been modified by the same beings that worked with humans in the beginning, but since they've been in communication and they've been working with many other races. Since it's not like here where everything is hidden and time is looping here on Earth. And over there, it's not looping. Ascension is the mission of everybody, and everybody's aware of what they have to do. The social structure is completely different. There's no money. Everybody, well, there are fights, there are arguments, but there's no murders and crime and stuff like that. There are jealousy. There's a bit of ego, but it's not duality like here on Earth.
How do they communicate with each other?
There's a lot of telepathy. They also have a language.
Okay. They have written words also then? Books and things?
They don't use much writing.
Okay.
They have much stronger memories, and they have connection that access information.
Wait, tell me how
Their
that works.
Yeah, their pineal gland is different than ours.
Hmm.
The cranium, their head is split on top,
Hmm.
and the pineal, what we could compare to the pineal gland, it's in the skull. It's part
Hmm.
of the skull on top of the head. So they have
Hmm.
great connection to source and to their guides, and
Hmm.
they meditate a lot.
Hmm.
They still have a body that is very physical, but the
Hmm.
body can hold much more light than
Hmm.
Earthlings.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
If you were to say they vibrated towards a certain ray, what ray do they represent? Is it the gold ray?
It is an ascension process. They go through all the colors.
Okay.
The star, their star is blue, and there is two other golden stars that are further beyond. But
Hmm.
there is a lot of influence from these stars. That's why when there is an alignment of the three stars, this is
Hmm.
where that big ceremony starts, and
Hmm.
all they don't procreate the way we do. It's different. They don't have. It's harder for them to have children. So the children are so precious. It's everything evolves around children, and everything evolves around their. They have pets also, animals, and they cherish them very much. It's they live for their children and their pets on the
So,
planet
so
and
let me ask you
the
this:
vegetation.
does the this alignment, is this what, did they need this alignment to enable to have children's? Is that why they wait for it?
Yes, it is part of it is a part of the ceremony.
Hmm.
This is why it lasts so long. When the stars are aligned, let's say it's the equivalent. It lasts for they stay. Oh wow, the stars stay aligned for something like the cycles stop. It's so weird.
Is
It's
this when
kind
they
of
have their kids?
it is, yes, it is
Okay.
part where they procreate their kids. They choose what the
Mhm.
child, if they need a child for certain tasks, or if a
Right.
child is needed for connections to higher guides, to the other stars, to
Like a
they will
mathematician or a map maker, or whatever skill they decide ahead of time.
they will um, they will with intent they will put the instructions through. It goes also through a female body, like ear, like
Okay.
earthlings.
Is it an egg? Does it sprout out of their body? Does it, they just have it like we do?
Yes, they have eggs inside the body. It's more like a pouch. It's not their bodies are different. They have like some type of a pouch. The
Hmm.
eggs comes out of the body. It goes into that pouch.
Hmm.
That pouch is filled with like some. It's like viscous
Okay, like a
thing.
fluid.
Yeah, some type of fluid. And when the egg is ready to well, when the child is ready to take form,
Hmm.
it's not an egg with a shell. It's an egg like women have.
Right. Like a membrane,
So
more of like
yes, and
like a cell.
yeah, but it's not connected to the body when it's in that pouch. When
Hmm.
it goes from the body to that pouch. It disconnects. It stays there for an incubation period.
Hmm.
It lives well. It needs those fluids. That's why they keep it there
Hmm.
to build antibodies and stuff
Hmm.
like that. But once after a short period of time, the egg, the body forms. It takes form. Legs come out, and the head just um, bends out of the egg, kind of, and the arms also pull out. We still have a small tail.
And this
Very
is when it
small.
decides if it's going to be male or female, right?
Yeah, males have penises and females have vaginas,
Interesting.
but our legs are different. We run much more quickly than earthlings do. Oh wow, this planet is also very beautiful.
Are the knees backwards?
No, they're similar to human, but the feet are longer, and we walk on more like on our toes. We only have 4 toes. We have a very strong claw at the tip of the toe. It's not long, but it's very thick.
Where it gives them good traction.
Yeah, it's dark. It turns black after aging. They decide to go once their mission is done. They can stay on this level of they can keep those bodies for almost up to, I'd say, it's hard to get a
Because
good
they don't have
estimate.
time there.
Yeah, but I could compare it to 500-600 years of Earthlings.
Okay.
There's so much love over there, and there's so much interest in learning from nature. And oh wow, there are other beings of the tribe that their feet have their palm web hands. Their hands are for these bodies are to go underwater, to work underwater, or see they can adapt with intent. They will create the body before they make love, or so
like during the ceremony.
Yes, in the ceremony, the male and the female will connect, but not. They just hold hands. Well, they just stay very close together through the ceremony, and they have a process of building it's like a plaque or a script. They use some type of powder. It's a little complicated, but the intent of the child is written on that stone, that plate, that plaque, and with magic and the alignment of with what we could call white magic, or help from the guides and the gods and the angels, whichever word you like, with help from them and the alignment, the energies from those other stars. That that board, that procreation will become the reality, the intent that will be creating the children.
It's almost like they're manifesting the baby.
Yeah, they are manifesting the child.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's, the babies are not like ours, and they're a bit more evolved once they come out of the pouch. They have eyesight, and their breathing is different than ours.
Do they have any memories when they're born?
Yes, the memories are much more evolved than ours.
Do they have to go to school?
Life is school for these beings. Everybody shares what they know. There's just loving intent. There are negative beings that are more like their intent is driven more by ego than most beings, but they were made that way for experimental studies, but they were kept a bit outside the tribe, and they like it that way.
So basically, they just have less of a connection to their creator beings, and that's what makes them polarized.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. But it was intended to, these beings were intended to be that way. They were created that way. The intent
Right.
was necessary. We needed to understand a lot of things about polarity and control of the mind and emotional fields, because many races come to our planet and they interact with us, and it was needed to know what these beings go through, because there's no war, there's no killings, no crime on this planet. So
Even with those
war,
polarized beings just on the outskirts of town, no problems with
yeah,
them.
yeah, we managed to balance the energy so that
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't become a problem.
Right.
And these beings are aware that they are this way, but
Mm-hmm.
they manage and they control it well.
Interesting.
They just very honest and explain that they are more physically, well, they are more attracted to their own personality than what we are doing, than what we care about.
They're more service to self, or their service, yeah, their service to self, and you guys are service to others.
Yeah, not really, because the balance is different than
Okay.
polarity on
Okay.
Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But you could say yes, it's a bit like that,
Okay.
but it's different.
Is this planet bigger or smaller than Earth?
It's a little bigger.
Okay. And are there oceans and trees and mountains and things like this that we're used to?
Mm, very similar to
There's,
Earth.
okay.
There are there's only one pole, one ice cap.
Okay.
The other one, it's not frozen. It's not
Interesting.
cold. But there's a huge, there's a like a third of the planet is frozen. The top, you could say the top part where it does spin. It's also a vortex planet.
Mm-hmm. A vortex planet?
Yeah, and the South Pole, you could say, is an ocean. It's a warm ocean.
Hmm. There's creatures that live in it.
Yeah, but the land where we are, there's many trees, huge, giant trees, beautiful trees,
Wow.
and they're like cedar trees.
Uh-huh.
But the vegetation is, it's not like on Earth. There's not
Okay.
diversity like planet Earth.
Okay.
It's limited.
Okay.
We have lots of animals, but it's not. It's also limited. We have animals like antelopes.
Uh-huh.
Some look. This one looks like a camel, but with very, very long hair, and
Hmm.
the back is not like a camel, but the face looks like the face of a camel.
What do you guys eat there? Or do you need to
Fruits,
eat?
fruits and herbs.
Okay. Perfect.
We juice animals
And is there a
all the
name for your
time
race or for your
because
star system?
it's a sound. It's a, it's a sound. It's a sound. We're connecting with our being.
Okay. Tell me about it.
It's not.
Is it coming forward and wants to talk to us?
I'm not sure what it is yet.
Just relax and allow. We don't need to force it.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. Is there a name for the race of beings or a name for the star system?
Oh yes. Yeah, both.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sound like a hoo hoo hoo
Hmm.
hoo. Is their hoo,
Mm-hmm.
or it sounds a bit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Their mouth is very small. They don't speak like we do. they use more like sounds. It's very elaborated, but it's it's it's
Mm-hmm. Because most of it's mental, anyways, right?
They don't need phones.
Yeah, it's like telepathic communication mostly. And who was it
Yeah.
that was trying to connect with us there a
When
minute ago? Somebody saw
on
us, and what was that?
when they go on exploration,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm one of the older beings, and there
Mm-hmm.
are some female. The female have an easier time with that. They communicate by telepathy with
Mm-hmm.
those who are gone on adventures, and
Mm-hmm.
she can also use eyesight. She sees what seeing, and she tells the whole tribe what if we gather around fires, and there's like a storyteller that tells there are many peoples on the planet that are gone for observation
Mm-hmm.
and learning from the planet and the vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
Because consciousness is different, they communicate with trees and animals, and but the elders of the tribe are translating the adventures of those many voyagers to those who are staying with in the village.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they can also see it. That's a little bit. She sends visions to the children so they can see what she's talking about. And I can also do it. I can also do it, but I'm not as strong as the female for these types of telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
I have other strengths, but
Mm-hmm.
female are better for storytelling or for following
Mm-hmm.
with visions or connecting
Mm-hmm.
with other other tribe members.
Okay.
And our legs are very skinny, but
Mm-hmm.
extremely strong. We're very powerful beings. We run
Is this your
the
mate?
yes.
Okay, wonderful. And what is your relationship to Patrick? Are you another aspect of his multidimensional self? Are you one of his past lives? How do you relate to Patrick?
This is just a past life.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just a vision of a past life that the higher self
Wanted to
thought.
show us.
I thought it'd be interesting. Thought that it has to do with emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me to see how it can be, how different it can be for us.
Mm. Right, that kind of group, that cohesiveness that they have here.
Yeah. So out of a free will, they decided to live that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we can all do the same thing. All Earthlings can get together and have these types of lives if we choose to. And even, oh wow, Earthlings are emotionally better equipped.
Mm-hmm.
So we can evolve faster, higher, and
Mm-hmm.
stronger than these beings. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that all this awareness is being kept away
Mm-hmm.
from Earthlings, from humans.
Okay. I want you to implant this in your memory so you can remember this and think back on it later on when the time is right for you, Patrick. Also, I would like to explore the possibility that the way that these beings and the way that you are in this life,
The
you're
higher
able to.
self,
Mhm.
he's bringing me somewhere. I'm back in the Merkaba.
Okay.
Something's happening. Again, I think that's what was happening earlier, but I'm back in the Merkaba.
Hmm.
The energies are changing.
You're
Oh,
moving.
I think I'm getting old. I'm back in the same body, but I'm really old. I can't move anymore.
Mhm. Okay. And is it still
Okay,
taking you
I'm
somewhere?
out of the body.
Mm-hmm.
We're in. It's not a cave. I think we're inside the temple. I'm still on the same planet with the same guy. His wife has already passed away, and he's dying.
Mm-hmm.
He
So is
decided
this
to.
later in the same lifetime then is what we're seeing?
Yeah,
Okay. Go ahead.
yeah. So there are younger shamans.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say sorcerers, but no, sorcerers are associated with black magic, and it's nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because they're
those
earth
great,
magic, right? Like
yeah,
planetary magic.
yeah. Well, their magic is good. It's
Mm-hmm.
only positive.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist black magic. They don't even aware of it.
Okay.
But there are two of these beings. They're a bit different than the rest of the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is to help passage to the other dimension. He's a
Mm-hmm.
guide. He's
Mm-hmm.
there to help me die
Okay.
with death.
To help you transition.
Yeah, with leaving the body.
Mm-hmm.
He's I'm going to use his energy to help get out of the body or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. The other one is to call on the guides from the star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the one holding the energies because the guides are going to come down from the star and pick up my soul. They're bringing me back to the star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh,
Right, because you decide when you're going to die in this life, right? You just say, I achieved my mission and I'm going to go on now.
I'm going with them.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to the star with them. I'm back. Yeah, I
Okay.
think I'm connecting to the soul.
Okay. Just
Oh
relax.
wow! It's there's light everywhere. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a bluish light,
Mm.
blue silver
Mm-hmm.
light everywhere. It feels cold but comfortable. Not cold, but cool. Like
Right, right.
cool.
What do your
Um,
guides look like?
um, they're light beings.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, you
Color are
feel
they?
you feel very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sound. They're emitting a sound like almost like a torch, the sound of a torch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's like a buzzing also in that sound. They don't have faces or anything. They just by intent communicate with me, and I
Mm-hmm.
just know to follow them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And so you go to
they're really
source.
really powerful. That's it's the source from uh, that system.
Mm-hmm.
It's 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 where I go before I go. I change density. I need to change body. So
So
there's
you're going to
going to be
transition.
guidance. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in that transition phase.
Mm-hmm. What are you train? What are you changing into?
It's going to be a lighter aspect.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another dimension on the same planet. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be born as a child, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't need to feed. They're semi physical. They can take physicality. That frequency, that world operates more on energies.
Mm-hmm.
That field of consciousness, once they get to these levels, it's the energies are so high that we don't need food.
Mm-hmm.
Our learnings are different.
So in a way, through this transition, you're also witnessing the evolution of that race as they went from one phase to another. Because they were
It's
eating before, and now they're not going to be, right?
it's a different system. Let's say that they are going from your 3D world to
Mhm.
the 5D world that you will be in eventually.
Mhm.
So he's doing it, but in
Okay.
a different system, a different type of, of changing
So
skin
it's almost like
tone.
an
So
ascension process then.
it is ascension process for
Okay.
these beings. It's the
Mhm.
way it was created for that
Mhm.
system.
Mhm.
It's not a system with deep duality. There
Mhm.
is a field of duality, but it's very weak.
Mhm.
Um, People are not affected by duality or the ego, although they all have an ego
Mhm.
uh, at the first form,
Mhm.
not this form that I am taking.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now there's no ego, it's only
Mhm.
energy,
Mhm.
and they build with energy, they create. It's like a dream world, but you're aware of it and you can work with the energies to create whichever things you want.
Mhm.
If you want vegetation, a lot of vegetation in your world, you just gotta imagine it and it will appear.
So
If
you're gonna be a
you
creator
want,
being for that world that you used to live on.
yeah, there are this part where they can create with light, and this is the mission to learn how to create before they get
Mhm.
to be able to create new worlds.
Mhm.
Well, creating new worlds is not really exact. We take planets that are in place
Mhm.
and we work with the life that has already been planted there by ancestors.
Mhm. Do any of those
Um,
planets, like, I know that at some point when a planet is going to start, like, say, growing plants, that there's going to need to be a soul inside of that planet. Is there a phase when there's a planet and it doesn't have any soul inside of it at all?
you know,
Okay. So the planet always has the soul in it. It's just a matter of when it's time for it to start growing things.
yes, you may see a planet as a dead rock, but there's a soul and everything that is held together.
Okay.
Every atom, every particle
Mm-hmm.
as soul light. It is
Mm-hmm.
connected to God.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a
Mm-hmm.
soul to exist. It's just that there are many different types of souls. The souls
Mm-hmm.
that they are formed to create you, earthlings, humans, or whichever beings, races,
Mm-hmm.
animals, trees, plants. These souls are different. They are different by awareness. There are advanced in a different way or different frequencies. They evolve differently.
Does a planet's soul have to evolve to a certain point before it can have life on it, before it can support life?
The soul of a planet has to go through what you are going now.
Mm-hmm.
It has to go through many experiences to evolve, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to support life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to expand your light to size don't matter, but you still have to expand light to a very large rapport to uh, to sight, to not to sight, to emplacement in the system.
So let me ask you this. If you are a planet and there's no life on you, and so you're just a hunk of rock floating out in space, what experiences would you have at that point? I mean, like, it seems like nothing's happening.
You think there's no life on planets, but there's always beings. It's just that there are at other frequencies.
Mm,
Um, the further you are from the stars, the larger the frequency difference will be from the planets that are close to the star. So even if you go with the body from your planet to that other planet, you still have the resonance, the frequency and connection to your own planet. You will never get the connection to that other planet because you are not built to connect with that planet. So you will not be able to take part of the life that is there unless you understand really, really, really deeply the mechanics of that system that you've just invaded, because you are considered an invader of a system when you don't belong to the system. There are exceptions. You cannot forget that there are always exceptions. Earth is a planet with many exceptions.
So if I was to be grounding myself, like on Earth, we talk about we ground ourselves to Gaia, and we form a connection with her. But if I was to go to Venus and do that same grounding exercise and try to connect to the core of Venus, it just wouldn't work?
It wouldn't work.
Interesting.
You would have to leave. You would have to leave your body to connect with Venus. And even
Okay.
then, you would not, your soul is not adapted. You would
Mhm.
need to work with technologies, or you would need to go back to the initiation schools or temples to adapt your frequencies, your soul frequencies to that new soul planet. And then you would be able to start seeing the worlds that are built, the dimensions that are living on that planet.
Mhm.
We see those dimensions as different beings. All of you earthlings are just one being living in one frequency, but there are many beings part of Earth's soul. You are part of Earth's soul. You're just a fractal, and Earth is a fractal of another soul. It's a pyramid. Your system, everything in your system is like a pyramid.
That's so cool. Who am I talking to right now?
You can consider as a higher self, a higher dimensional of Patrick.
Mhm. All right. Hi, Patrick's higher self. So wonderful to talk to you today. One thing I always wonder about, yes, sorry, hi there. You any relation to Metatron at all?
Don't like that question.
You sound like a machine to me, Patrick's higher self. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm picking up. Can you explain that? Why do I get that feeling?
Because we're at different field of emotion here. I'm more connected to information than I am connected to your emotional field. Patrick is an emotional being, and I'm not attached to the body. I don't wear a body. I'm attached to his mind, to his field of energy, to his consciousness. So it may seem like robotic a bit. It's just that the emotional field is really different. We don't feel it as you feel it. We feel it
Okay.
through you.
So you're not an AI, you're not a machine. It's just how you sound because of the distortion of the way the communication is happening.
That was funny. That brought up emotions.
Okay.
That was funny. I'm not
Okay.
related to Metatron. I'm
Okay.
connected to Source. Greatly
Okay.
connected to Source.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. Would it be okay if we asked you a few questions? We had some questions we were curious about today.
Oh yes, I'd love to answer your
I
question.
know. I love talking to you so much. Feels like a big hug right now. Now, so first of all, we had some questions about monatomic gold. What would be the West? Why are we thinking about monatomic gold? How should Patrick and I use it in our daily lives, if anyways?
Please don't use it. You don't need it. You will just modify your consciousness. And it was not built to play with. Those are used with ceremonies that can alter your consciousness. Some beings have used it very often. Some still use it. But it has brought so many distortions in their behaviors and their personalities. It brought them more to a darker side than the positive side. So I suggest to everybody and anybody, don't try it, don't use it. Be a healthy person, exercise a lot,
Yeah.
communicate, connect with the planet,
Yeah.
connect with animals, connect with the stars. There's so
Yeah.
much to connect with. Go hug big trees that are full of life. You will see. Use your sensory system. You
Oh,
will see the energies are everywhere. You live in a beautiful paradise. It's just you can't see it yet.
right. Wow, that's such a beautiful message. Thank you. So then we would say the same thing is true about anything that comes from outside of us. So, like um, plant medicines, we talk about like ayahuasca and iboga and things like this. Not necessary.
Those are different. They have been created through the soul of earth and through the collective consciousness. Yeah, the collective consciousness needed these medicines, these plants, either for animals or, well, all beings, because you're considered like animals, but you are one that is very evolved in awareness, but influenced negatively to be kept behind.
Okay. So I feel like my feeling is that anything,
But
go ahead.
all plants, all herbs in that field of consciousness are there for a reason.
Hmm.
Even some of the herbs you see as poisonous are there for very good reasons. They serve a
Hmm.
purpose. Drugs serve good purpose if they're used properly.
Hmm.
There are situations when awareness is not high enough where the body may need these
Hmm.
outside, these plant medications, these drugs, these
Hmm.
toxins to alterate feeling, alterate a loss of emotion, or to get control of emotions.
Hmm.
And it, there's a lot of these plants that will help to repair the body, and
Hmm.
they will not alterate your personality,
Hmm.
but they will do a lot. They will help a lot with inflammation and diarrhea, and some bad bacteria, fungus, yeah, fungi.
Is there a certain plant that you're thinking of right now?
There's just so many on Earth.
Okay.
There's just so
All right.
many purposes.
Yeah.
Every plant has a purpose. It's just
Yeah.
that all this knowledge has been stolen from humanity, and
Yes.
now it is seen like it's nothing, but it's your purpose. It is your mission to learn about all this, to connect with
Hmm.
nature. Humans will do it eventually. You have to do it.
Hmm.
It's part of your mission. You will all connect eventually to everything. It is
Hmm.
being taken care of.
Hmm.
So yes, all these herbs, fruits have special toxins. Well, toxin is not the right word, but they have these special. Uh, we see it as light, as
Hmm.
vibrations,
Hmm.
but they have these different purposes that are necessary for evolution for the
Hmm.
body. A lot have been distorted. Even some of these plants, these fruits, vegetables, trees,
Hmm.
the distortion has affected every
Right. So the plant has been changed by us, so it doesn't even achieve its original
at this
intent.
point, been changed by humans, and it's been modified by the effects that have been imposed on the planet.
Hmm.
Um, those are the distortion. We will not get into it, but
That's fine.
it does affect plants,
Hmm.
insects, animals, any earthlings.
Hmm.
It even affects water,
Hmm.
the minerals. It affects everything. It is being taken care of, but it's not something that can be
Okay. I want to talk about
repaired.
marijuana specifically. I know Patrick has some
Very
questions on this, and our main question is we know that it has some good physical benefits as far as like, you know, getting rid of cancer and pain and anxiety. Does it hold you back if you are trying to do spiritual things, like what we're doing here today, hypnosis or connecting with your higher self? How does the marijuana affect that aspect?
Beautiful. This is a very good question.
Thank you.
It is a complicated one.
Mm-hmm.
Marijuana has a large field of operation.
Mm-hmm.
The mission of that race of plant is large. It serves many purposes.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many races that some won't even affect you, and some will affect you deeply, and some will affect you permanently.
You're talking about different strains of marijuana?
Yes,
Okay.
different varieties of
Yeah.
marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah, some are extremely what you call potent,
Yeah.
and some are good for inflammation,
Yeah.
for calming the body down.
Yeah, because you got your indica
Since
and your
humans,
sativa.
yes, since humans are all at different vibrations,
Mm-hmm.
let's say that for someone that is out of control with his high energies,
Mm-hmm.
he cannot balance with his lower energies, with his lower self. He's just stuck in the higher field of energies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's damaging his life and his personality. It's affecting him.
Mm-hmm.
And marijuana may be you better than chemical drugs because the
Mm-hmm.
side effects are smaller or different.
Mm-hmm.
If but if only if it's used properly with good intent and
Mm-hmm.
not intent of destruction, because humans don't realize it, but humans are deeply self-destructive. A lot of humans are deeply self-destructive. So we have to be careful the way you understand what is being shared here.
Yeah, like
Okay?
we're not talking about escapism and escaping your daily life. What we're talking about is if you are angry or emotional and you want something to mellow you out and you're taking it for the right reason, then this can be a good thing. Am I hearing that right?
At some point, that body was affected by trauma, by they gave him chemical opioids.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
It's a copy of heroin or morphine.
Yes, right, because he had broke his neck.
Yeah, he was in deep trauma, so they put him on pain medication that
Mm-hmm.
affected him deeply, and
Mm-hmm.
affected his personality,
Mm-hmm.
affected his life totally. Yeah, affected him deeply. So
Yes.
marijuana, cannabis,
Right.
if you can find the right strain, can be used to tolerate pain,
Mm-hmm.
to ease the access of going into trance, to deal with pain, to heal yourself. But when it is used that way, it's not used from when you get up in the morning till when you get to
Mm-hmm.
bed at night. It is
Right.
used with the minimal dosage, as minimal as you can possible
Mm-hmm.
before it starts affecting you, before you feel the effects.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be careful because the human mind is programmed to feed the ego, to always want more of what is good.
Right, because you're trying to go away from pain and you're trying to go towards pleasure, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you use it without restrictions, it will become your new enemy. It
It's
will
like a crutch.
become exactly. It will
Mm-hmm.
get way. It will get worse than a crush because it will affect your own whole life if you become dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Then it can get really hard to separate from that field of energy because
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a part of you. You're so used to being connected with that field of energy,
Hmm.
that it almost feels like it's breaking when
Yeah.
when you try to get away from that energy that the drug procures you.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying there. So if somebody was using it for the right reason and they still wanted to go after some spiritual pursuits like getting contact with their higher self or the time travel that we like to do, this would be okay as long as they're not using too much of it.
Yes, you have to start by minimal dosage. You have to
Mm.
be really careful. We will not suggest any altering substance to anyone. But
Right.
if you are with a problem and you really need to balance your energies
Hmm.
and you feel deep within you that it can help, well, why not? It's there,
Right.
it grows, and it should be free for everybody to use. But
Right. Okay. I want to talk about alcohol as well. Patrick says that it seems like if he drinks alcohol, it's usually about 2 to 3 days before his field kind of goes back to normal. Would you say that's about right?
it go up to
Up to
five,
5? Okay.
5 to 6 days.
Okay.
It's the same things with heavy altering drugs that have chemical substances.
Hmm.
Those MDA, MDMA, MDA,
Yes, I
and
know what you're talking about.
those synthesis chemicals,
Hmm.
cocaine,
Hmm.
modified cocaine,
Hmm.
call speed. These
Yes.
drugs will affect you for up to 7, 8, 10 days.
Wow. I didn't think that. I thought that was out of your system so much faster than that. Okay.
No, there are chemicals associated with chemical synthesis going on in your body when you
Mhm.
consume those drugs. The
So even
alcohols
though
are
it,
the worst.
so even
Alcohol
though it's not
will
making you
distort
high
your mind.
anymore, it can still prevent you from reaching higher states then, just because it's in your body.
Yes, it distorts the vision in the connection. What is trying to be shared with you will be distorted. Let's say if a higher being like the higher aspect of Patrick we call Babka, if
Mhm.
he would try to connect with the lower self, the lower Patrick,
Mhm.
that body, that
Mhm.
mind part, he could receive the message as a scary message when in fact he was only trying to share neutral information. Or he can
Oh,
even go to the point of seeing Babakwa as a monster when in fact he's there as a loving being.
oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Very cool. And that's due to distortion is what's causing something like that.
Yes, it
Okay.
distorts your senses
Hmm.
and it affects perception of the shared message, the shared energies. You
Hmm.
cannot perceive the message the way it was intended to be received. So it does affect you profoundly. We appreciate to work with Patrick because he's really careful with those.
Yeah. I want to ask one more question about the alcohol as well. Um, Patrick takes a lot of care when he does make a decision to do some alcohol. He would try to drink it in such a way that it's a type of alcohol and it's mixed with certain things. They're going to make it more alkaline and less harmful to him. Can you give him guidance as far as best practices if he were just to, he's going to enjoy some once a month or every other week? What would be the best way to do it or the best type of alcohol? The least
Yes,
damaging, I should say.
yeah, we understand, but it would be hard for him to do better. The
Okay.
recipe he is doing at the moment is one of the cleanest. We could
Okay. Perfect.
consider it one of the cleanest, but he should replace, he's using maple syrup. He should replace with honey. He likes
Oh,
it.
that's
He
awesome.
likes he likes the taste of maple syrup, but it's not that healthy. He
Yeah.
honey honey is better for him. he should use a little bit more of that lemon, organic biological lemons, and also
Yes.
use biological ginger. He buys the regular ginger, but he can find some biological, and he can grow his own and keep it all year long.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much, Patrick Higher Self. I love you. That's a great, great answer. It's just what he was looking for. Now,
We love all of you so much. All of you, we love you so much.
I love you
It's so
too.
great to be able to share that, all that
Yes.
beautiful energy we love to share.
Mhm. Yes, and we want to make sure that Patrick is going to have a good recollection of this whole conversation. I know that one of his complaints, something we've been talking about lately, is that it seems like when the higher self comes in, really Patrick gets really deep in his trance, which is great for me to talk to you, but that's when he doesn't remember things as good also. Is there anything that you can talk to us about helping him to remember this part better?
Mm, yes. Patrick has been a long time on heavy medication,
Mm-hmm.
so the part in his mind that is blocking the memory
Mm-hmm.
is getting stronger. The light, he can hold the light longer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's being worked on by his guides.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that can be fixed in one session, but
Okay.
every time he goes under, it gets better and better.
Okay.
And there's
Okay.
also a control aspect coming from himself.
Mm-hmm.
He will get to a point. He will get to a point when he goes into trance
Uh-huh.
where he's going to get a control.
Okay.
It's like almost being able to control dream world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is going to be controlling dream world. Well, he will
Mm-hmm.
start remembering his dreams. He
Like
will not
lucid
fall.
dreaming?
Yes, he's
Mm-hmm.
having a hard time adapting because he
Mm-hmm.
thinks he cannot fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because he's not going to that area where he was dozing too deep.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a little confused, but he's learning to balance the energies and to balance control.
Okay.
It will take a little time. It's
Okay.
not something that we can really help him with,
Okay.
but if he watches back this video of the session, he
Mm-hmm.
will understand what he needs to do.
Mm. And what
And
I'm hearing, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to clarify this before you move on. What I'm hearing is that this is a function of practice and intent, and it will come.
yes, the stronger the intent, the
Mm-hmm.
easier it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And the easier the intent comes, the stronger the memory will get. It's
Mm-hmm.
related.
Mm-hmm.
It will come, but we can also feel energies that you are trying to get to something else. You want to repair memory.
Yes.
You may need more than a session.
Okay.
Memory is connected to the mind and is connected to the field of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's connected to source. It's connected
Mm-hmm.
to the higher self. Memory is a complicated aspect, mechanics of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be fixed in from different points, from different situation.
Mm-hmm.
The physical aspect is big. It's 70% of it.
Mm-hmm.
The healthier the body is, the
Mm-hmm.
stronger you build your temple, the
Mm-hmm.
more it can hold. The weaker your temple, the
Mm-hmm.
less it will hold.
Okay. That makes sense. It's just like light, memory. They're very similar in that regard.
Yes, don't forget that most of your physical memory of your connection to Earth is
Mm-hmm.
physical, is light, but used with your physical body, with your physical memory. So it's really important to exercise and to oxygenate. And those who do those breathing exercise,
Breathing. Okay.
those source exercise, source connection, or prana,
Mm-hmm.
chi,
Mm-hmm.
chi, chi elevation exercise. Those will help a lot with memory. The more light you bring into the body, the easier it gets for the body to heal. And
Mm-hmm.
the stronger you will get, the
Mm-hmm.
stronger your memory will get.
Okay. Okay. So,
And
go ahead.
also, you can also be very careful with what type of information you fill your memory with,
Mhm. That's
because
hard.
it's a limited. It's not limited, but humans limited themselves, and
Hmm.
so you can also control what you let inside that. Let's call it a box for now. What you
Hmm.
let inside of that box and what you do with that box also.
Hmm.
And there
Hmm.
are many exercises for memory that are good. There are games that are fun that you can play for memory.
Mm,
The
yeah.
more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Okay. So, I have a friend that was asking me if I could help, like their kids become better at taking tests and remembering the stuff they learn in school. Is there any advice you could give me towards that end? Like what I could do to help somebody's kids become better in a way with a session?
If they are old enough
Hmm. What
to
age is
go
old enough?
to go into transition, it doesn't. It's not associated with the age. It's
Hmm.
associated with the evolution of the mind.
Okay.
Some children will not at the age of 10, and some will be able to at the age of 3.
Okay.
It depends on a lot of factors. It
So we
is
would just
usually,
try and see.
you cannot hurt by trying.
Okay. Perfect. So they're old enough, then what will I do?
If they are old enough for a session,
Hmm.
you have to make it fun as a game, not as something serious
Hmm.
or something stressful or
Hmm.
scary. He has to see it
Beautiful.
something as something fun that he wants to do,
Uh-huh.
that he likes to do.
Uh-huh.
So you have to create the intent that he's going to play, that it's going to be a fun, a beautiful
Mm.
vision that he will see.
Uh-huh.
And once he get comfortable with the whole system, and
Hmm.
once he is relaxed enough and deep into trance, he
Hmm.
will be able to start working with the higher self
Hmm.
and get to the memory part. He will
Hmm.
be able to fix things that can hold the light for much longer periods of time. That will make the field of memory stronger.
So like when we do a body scan with the higher self, this would just basically be a different type of body scan. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
And we would just request, we'd
It's
say, kid, higher self, can you do a body scan and get rid of, anything that's hurting them or anything physical? And by the way, while you're at the body scan, can you get rid of anything that is blocking their memory from working at its peak capacity?
well, there's nothing to answer. You answered.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understood it right. As long as we're on this type of, yes, as long as we're on this type of a topic, let's talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. Um, I want to talk about age reversal. Can you talk on that topic a little bit?
Yes, the information is coming in.
Hmm.
Hmm. What exactly would you like to know?
Okay. So first of all, I've heard that there's a system out there called ETR, Energy Transfer Reset. It's kind of a newer modality, and they claim to be able to make somebody 5 years younger by doing the ETR. In fact, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Is that a real thing, and is that what's happening?
Your techniques are stronger.
Okay.
Instead of using an intent of scanning and repairing, you can change the intent and make it reversal of aging, but you
Mhm.
have to understand that if that person doesn't take care of body, doesn't respect the
Mhm.
exercises and the diet associated with these
Mhm.
things, the connections to Gaia, the connections to younger fields of
Mhm.
energy, the
Mhm.
connections of higher density energies, and all
Mhm.
those things related to being a young person.
Mhm.
Well, it's up to them. If they want to be young, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of things you
Mhm.
can choose to do that are way better than surgery.
Mhm.
Surgery is a joke. People,
Right?
they look
Love you.
like dolls, and they get. For us, it's a very funny thing. There's not really anything wrong. It's all experimenting, but we see it as very funny when people have their skin stretch on their faces when all they could do is just exercise and eat better, take care of their temple. And they will get smarter.
Yes.
The whole relation to the body would change and they would
Yeah.
get younger. It's
Yeah.
it's much
Okay.
easier.
So the way I've heard this before in another session, and I just want to make sure that your perspective matches where I'm kind of thinking of going with this. The way I've heard of it is that most of aging is a thing that is in the left side of the brain that's due to programming that we've received throughout our life. Would you agree with that, Patrick, by yourself?
Yes, I would start by depolarizing the mind with
Mm-hmm.
that thing that you call aging.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, the body needs to regenerate, and you live in a very acidic world, acidic system
Yes.
that does a lot of damage on your body.
So we need to get
So
to alkaline bodies then, right?
after the intent, once you've worked with the intent, once
Mm-hmm.
you are aware, once the awareness is fixed,
Mm-hmm.
once you've healed that part, you can start working with the alkalinity, the acidity of your blood.
Mm-hmm.
The less acid is, the you will not age as fast.
Okay.
If it's very acid, you will age much sooner. If you use
Mm-hmm.
alcohol, sugars,
Mm-hmm.
drugs,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of foods
Meat.
that are some meat,
Mm-hmm.
we would suggest to all humans to
Mm-hmm.
eventually get away from meat and stop earthing and killing animals.
Mm-hmm.
It will get to this point
Okay.
eventually. But
Dairy. What
to
about dairy?
understand, dairy comes from animals and it's deeply modified, and it's not modified in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
These animals are not really well treated
Mm-hmm.
for the majority. There are energies associated with
Mm-hmm.
these products that are not good for the body.
Mm-hmm.
We would suggest higher density food, but if it's someone that produces his own dairy from his own happy cows and
Mm-hmm.
sheep, wow, good for him.
Yeah,
This is
because you don't
good
have to kill
stuff.
an animal for it, right? So it doesn't hurt then.
You got it.
Oh, I love you, man. That's so awesome. Okay. I'm sorry, and you were on a roll, and I interrupted you. I always do that. You're so patient. I really appreciate you about that. Okay, so we're talking about we're going to form the intent first. We're going to go in and we're going to do a session. We're going to say erase everything from your mind that makes you think you age. Now we're going to fulfill the physical actions that will help to keep you in this anti-aging. And the first one is to be an alkaline body and not acidic, right?
Yes, this is really good, but you can also work outside the session when
Mm-hmm.
the person understands for himself that age is a creation of negative humans, of negative races. It was
Mm-hmm.
created to shorten your lives. It was created to program the human in a way that it has to hurry up to do everything it can before it dies.
You're
It
right.
was, yeah. So You're starting to understand.
Yeah, it's really coming on me. It's starting to dawn on me. And you always describe things in such good ways for me and Patrick also. And I
So
hope a lot of people out there understand.
if you understand the mechanics of how it was created and why it was created, you then understand what aging is. So you can write with sessions, with meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and with the awake, the mind that is day to day awakened, and just by repeating to yourself and believing that you are getting younger,
Mm-hmm.
it will have some effects on the body that are so incredible that your friends won't believe it. Even if they see it, they won't believe it.
Oh, I love it. So once again, it comes down to practice and intent. Really, like that. People wouldn't necessarily need to have a session with me or Patrick if they're just watching this video and they just understand what you're saying, right?
Yes, eventually these sessions won't be anymore. People will get together
Mm-hmm.
and practice sessions this way, but a much more evolved
Mm-hmm.
way. Eventually, with time, it will be known by everybody that the human mind can, that the soul can leave the body to explore and to
Mm-hmm.
learn many more things.
Mm-hmm.
And people will practice, like couples will practice on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Families will work this way on each other. They will guide each other. It will not be a working system. It will not be a job anymore. It will
Mm-hmm.
be a day-to-day thing. It will be part of your lives to program your own minds to be what you
Oh,
want to be.
it's beautiful. Getting chills. So, like our Facebook group, I always had this idea that we're going to evolve into like this kind of a super organism that we're going to magnify each other and make each other better. And so maybe we would get together as a group and do maybe rituals or dance around a fire or say our own spells or something like this and make each other all younger that way.
We cannot emphasize enough. Oh, we love it so much. Please unite. This is what we're pushing you so much to do.
Okay.
Humans still have this fear of unity.
Mm-hmm.
You feel separated, but you are one being.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different parts of that same being. And
Right.
the more you unite, the better you unite. The more you are, the stronger the energies are. The easier it gets to connect with those beings that are so far away from your planet and
Mm-hmm.
those beings that are into far dimensions. You will be able to get new information that will change everything.
Oh, so exciting. All right. One thing I wanted to ask too, Patrick, sometimes, like one of my friends has a guide that is just like chatting in her ear all the time. And yet Patrick has a hard time talking to Babaqua sometimes. Why is that? Why is he having trouble with that sometimes?
No, we know. He's trying hard, but Baba Clark has a personality.
Mm,
He will only make himself feel appreciated in very opportunate times.
mm-hmm.
He will not even let himself. Um, he won't even let Patrick know he's around when he is around most of the time.
So he's around more than Patrick knows then.
Oh yeah, he's a funny guy. He likes not only that, but he plays tricks on Patrick's. He pushes weird smells during the night. He plays games on him. He moves things around. And
Okay.
Patrick has to look everywhere for keys or for a sock or for a pencil or a tube of paint, or especially when he's doing arts.
Mm-hmm.
Baba Kwa loves to whistle some some strange things, and he's here, and he's all wondering, wow, where did that thought came from? And he's hiding stuff, and he plays with him, all kinds of tricks all the time. It's
Oh,
funny.
that's hilarious. So this isn't a failing of Patrick's at all. It's just Babakwa is just a joker, and he's just having fun. He's being himself.
It's Babaqua's personality.
Okay.
It's nothing that can be changed. It's fine.
Well, I guess what can be changed is that Patrick needs to recognize when Babakwa is around better, because Babakwa is around and he doesn't recognize it sometimes.
Yeah, Patrick's sensibility is getting really, really high. He will eventually see beings that many aren't prepared to see yet. It's coming. It's really close for him. We're just making sure that he will be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Some of those beings are not. We could not describe them as beautiful in relation to your knowledge. Some of these beings are huge and very different from what you remember and what you are aware of. And there's a reason for having a veil and not dropping the veil suddenly, because people will not be able to take it. But it's the same for Patrick. He's been working for a long time to recognize and to see these beings, but it doesn't work that way. He has to be ready first.
I remember one time one of my clients got sent to this planet, and she was like a squid person. You know, she had tentacles for feet and one eyeball, and we'd asked why was she taken to that planet, and they said, well, so she won't judge other races, right?
As a higher self, I only know about this universe and the dimensions in relation to this universe. But life is unlimited. What I know compared to what your awareness is at the moment is larger, so much larger. You would not be able to handle it with this physical mind.
Yeah.
From my containment of knowledge to yours, there's a big difference. But the higher self's containment of knowledge is still very small and compared to source knowledge, where everything is prepared and organized and balanced. There is so much information in source that all the higher beings, even Babakwa looks like a baby, not even a baby, like a grain of sand. But this knowledge is accessible to all of us, and the more we work in that direction, the easier it gets, and we can get to a point, even for us that are not physical, we need this information. Otherwise, it would get really boring because we don't feel what you feel. We need other things to concentrate our attention on, like you guys and source, other planets, our universe, other dimensions. There's a lot of things for us to do. It's just different. It's just our missions are different. Our mechanics are different. It's all good.
Sure.
There's no real negative. We learn from everything. So it's always going in the right direction.
Okay. And I wanted to go back to this memory thing just a little bit. I felt like you were getting on to something. So we talk about in terms of the physical memory, and we form in a tent, and then we're going to maybe do some memory exercises afterwards to kind of reinforce this. But it almost seemed like there's maybe a way of storing memories outside of the physical bodies and then accessing that when you're taking a test. Were you going to say something like that?
Yes. If you want to be able to access what is called the Akashic records, those informations that are connected to source or to that source energy that is everywhere around us.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be able to connect to that information, you need to train the body, train the mind, and train the soul.
Mm-hmm.
In relation to it, there's a lot of exercises you can do,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes a lot of discipline to get there.
Okay.
Some
But
are
once you got there, then you would never have to memorize anything ever again. You would just go to the Akashic records while you were taking your test and do it that way.
It would be better to use the outside memory, the higher self's memory, or the source memory, because the body cannot hold this type of information. It's just too big.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought you were getting at there, and I just wanted to be sure. So we can, of course, improve the physical memory, but there's a limit to it. But yeah, there's other ways to go beyond that limit, and that's by going through the higher self and through the Akashic records. And now you don't even need to bother to use the physical memory so much.
That's how those schools of knowledge make those higher beings so knowledgeable, is because they connect to fields of information. This is what Patrick is training to do, and he's on the right path. He just needs more discipline and exercise more patience. He'll get there.
And practice and intent again. We'll go back to that.
And then a lot of meditation, and different types of meditation.
Okay. And then I also, go ahead.
Yoga is like meditation. There's many types of yoga, many types of breathing exercises, many types of relaxation, guided meditations. There's so much you can do to help the mind and the evolution of memory and connecting to the Akash. It's just like anything else. When you're very young, you cannot take a pencil or a paintbrush and create masterpieces right away. You have to work your way there. The same way, same thing. It just maybe a little bit more work, and you may need a little bit more discipline to get there.
Wow, so good, so good. Now, Patrick Higher-Self, I would like to ask you a little bit about angels and archangels and things like this. There's a lot of confusion over this topic. I have some, Patrick has some, and I know that a lot of other people, I'm sure they do too. So what I want to say is that it seems like, you know, Patrick says from his perspective that a person wouldn't be able to channel an archangel because it would burn them up. And yet we see so many people that appear to be channeling archangels. Can you talk about that topic just a little bit, please?
Yes, Patrick is right about that topic. It's a little bit like we were explaining earlier. There is a bit of confusion with balancing energies and perception and visualization. Imagination plays a great role in these sessions, but he is right when he says that an angel cannot be challenged by a physical body, but the information can be. It has to go through the higher self. It's a complicated mechanic. It is a rare, it is an exception. It can be done. But I think the energy feels like it is good information. It is a connection. It's just that it is presented in a way. Well, there may be distortions that may reflect the information like it's coming from an angel, but it's knowledge that is stored in the physical mind that creates that field of information, that field of consciousness. So the mind may see it as an angel because they see the information as archetyped, as it's the way the mind sees it. It's the way the mind imagines the information coming out of the higher self. So the person is not really conscious of where and how it gets to the higher self. So it may see it as coming from angelics, the yells, when in fact it's coming from the higher self. It is information. It is the same information that it is similar to what the yells are teaching or guiding, but the yells cannot channel through physical body. The physical body will not be able to take it, but they do connect with humans. They have connected often. Not only that, but they have shared children with females.
Oh, that's a real thing. Okay. Okay. So I want to make sure that I understand this right, because this is what Patrick and I were thinking the other day when I was talking to him. Okay, so we talk about that Patrick is generally between 80 to 88% accurate, depending on the level of trance, the way his body feels, and the topic matter. Would you agree with that?
I would say a little higher when he is like today.
Okay.
You could proceed like 95% accuracy.
Wow. Okay.
But it
So
is an
but on his
exception.
best day, there's still going to be some level of distortion, right?
It will always be the mind works this way. It's the mechanics of the physical body. There is always the imagination playing a part in the message. But if you back your personality to the back of the mind, like he found a trick on how to hold his personality back to let the information come through. That permits him to connect with the higher self and different beings also, just that he's not there yet. But it's a connection. He's not trancing. He's not being possessed by these beings, except to one like Babakwa. Babakwa is an aspect. It's a personality of the same body. It is Patrick, but it is a separate being, but it is still part of the collective Patrick.
Right, that makes total sense. Okay, and then also at the same time, because of the way we're doing this session between Patrick and I with distance and because I'm involved, there could potentially be some distortion in the information that's coming through based on my involvement as well. Is that right?
Yes, you're right. The connections with your consciousness also can create distortions. Patrick is an exceptional being because he's been practicing wanting this, and not only that, he volunteered for it. It was part of his mission to connect and bring higher messages and share them. But most beings in a session, most believers will share information if they can relax enough and go deep enough. We could say that on the visuals, 60% accurate, and the information can go up to 75, 80% accurate.
So basically, whatever is lowering my vibration would distort other people more than it would when I'm dealing with Patrick.
It also depends on the difference of frequencies. If it's a being really close to your vibration, it doesn't affect much.
Okay.
But if it's a being, if it's a being, if it's a being, if it's a being of different vibrations, your energies will affect that being much more.
So in a sense, that could be in a good way as well, because if they're not in the right place, I can kind of connect to them and help to bring them to the right place if I'm closer to it.
There's a message coming in. Would you like us to share that?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
We feel like it comes from a female entity of another field. It wants to share information. so you can prepare a session where Patrick can connect safely with her.
Mm-hmm.
If the intent and awareness is correct, you will both love this information very much.
Mm-hmm.
It will help. It will help with what you are trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
She's coming in here. She's coming in to share information that you will appreciate very much.
Okay. And she's here right now? Just relax, Patrick. You know that you're in my well-capable hands. Me and your higher self are going to take very good care of you. Let's just trust and allow in this moment, okay?
Yes, she is here.
Okay.
But she is a very powerful being.
Okay. May I ask her name, please? Or what she would like us to call her?
She will share information in a session prepared for her. She's not ready to share.
Okay.
But she's asking if you can please, with the highest honors, she would love to share information in relation to what you are seeking, to what you're trying to do.
Which topic are you talking about? We've been on a lot of topics. I don't know what you're talking about.
With the evolution of connecting and healing.
Okay.
So prepare a session with that intent of connecting with a very special being. Really in deep, 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 deep. And it should work.
Okay, just a minute here. Just a minute. Okay, so we have a female. We're going to have a special session just for her with no other topics. We want to connect with her about the evolution of connecting. Am I understanding this all right?
Yeah, and healing.
And healing, as it relates to healing.
She will help.
Okay. Can we get a name, please? Something to call her?
It's not clear enough. I cannot connect enough. She
Okay.
is not sharing names.
Okay. So we're going to say we want to have a session with the special female that wants to connect with us.
I will prepare Patrick to calibrate
Okay.
his field of consciousness, his vibrations.
Okay. All right.
He will connect to that being.
Okay.
You will love what she has to share.
All right. I can't wait. I can't wait. Okay. Well, we would just like to say hi and we love you until we get to meet.
She is a very high aspect of Arcturus.
Oh, yes, we've been called Arcturus before too, and we haven't gone yet. You think we should go to Arcturus to meet this person?
Call on her to come to you first.
Call on her to come to us first. Okay, perfect.
She will guide you there.
Okay. Okay. She's going to teach us lessons and things. Is she going to teach us about the rainbow energy also?
Yes, it's all a part.
Okay. That's part of the information. All right. Because I know that we kind of associate our new knowledge of the rainbow energy with Arcturus. Okay.
Patrick is falling into deep. His body is a little tired.
Okay. Should we be done for today? Is that what you're telling me?
You should bring him out soon.
Okay. All right, let me just see if there's anything else that he wanted me to cover then before we do that. Sounds like this lady, she was so powerful, she just wore him out just that fast. So he's going to have to go ahead.
We'll let you
go. Okay. All right, Patrick's higher self, I want to thank you for coming through today. Please allow me to have a good memory. Come on up.
Oh, wow, I went deep.
Yeah, you did, buddy. Sorry about that.
Oh, my body's so heavy.
Just relax, relax. Take your time. Take your time.
Oh boy, I'm all wet. Oh boy. Oh wow, I remember that planet. This is so beautiful over there. Wow.
And that was the first thing you did too, so that's good that you remember that. But of course, what happens is that we get to talking to the higher self. That's when, and like you were deep today. You know, I was asking your higher self. I say, you know, Patrick is normally good for about 80 to 88% accuracy on a really good day, and the higher self said, dude, he's like 95 or better than that. Because he is just like so. He's learned this new trick to put his personality aside, and it's working so good right now that like the accuracy is off the fucking charts.
Yeah, it's true. I've been using it in meditation, and it bang, it brings me there right away. It works really well. It's like I sit my personality in the back, and I just almost throw a blanket over it, and just throw the energy in the front, like poof, and it connects right away.
You're still doing this thing where you're trying to cool the front part of the brain? Are you still doing that? Is that part of it?
Yes, it's one of the main things about it. I do breathing exercise for about 10 minutes. The breathing exercise to cool off that part and to bring that third eye to a very deep blue. The cooler I get, the lobe, the frontal parts, the deeper blue I don't see it.
It appears,
in
it
the mirror
seems.
or anything, but it feels like it gets to a very dark indigo blue. And once it hits that color, bang, right away they come in and they start communicating with me. But I remember that special energy touched me big time. That's why I'm all wet. It's the first time I do a session when I get wet like this. I think I was getting cold.
Yeah, you know, I was about to do this trick, and your higher self realized it and was like, "Wait a minute, that's gonna be too good." Okay, so what I was gonna do? You're on that planet, right? And the aspect that was you is it was a past life, right? And you guys could implant thoughts in each other's brains, like images, as a way to teach. Okay, and so I was about to really get you connected with that aspect of yourself, so that you could implant thoughts into other people's brains.
Seriously, Kelly, I can't concentrate on what you're saying. I'm still a bit in there.
That's okay.
So you're
You'll
speaking
see this
in
on the video.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna have a chat tomorrow if you don't mind. And
Yes,
I'm just gonna absorb all of this for today because I remember a lot this time. I think I remember more than usual, and I'd like to write while I still remember. I'd like to write a few things down.
A little journaling.
I have a hard time talking right now. My lips are like numbing. It almost feels like I went to the dentist or like I'm drunk. It's seriously, I feel like I'm a bit drunk or something. It's but I feel wow, in a good way.
I want you to be careful when you get up and walk around. All right, it's because you're probably a little lightheaded. Go do your journaling. I'm also going to, and then boy, wait till I talk to you about some of the topics we went over. You may not remember them all, but we went over marijuana, monatomic gold, alcohol, super memory, Akashic record, age regression. Dude, fucking killer shit, right? So I'll hustle this video out and get it up to you as well. But also we'll talk a little bit tonight on the phone.
Oh yeah, cool.
Maybe take a nap.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna write things down. Oh my god.
Yeah, I just overflowed your mind again, huh?
I'm gonna write things down, and I'm gonna relax for an hour or half an hour, and I'm gonna send you a text, and we can maybe connect again.
Perfect. Let's do that. Let's make that the plan, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool. I love you, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks so much. Well, that's great, man. Love you too. We'll talk soon.
See you.